Yes. So today we are going to talk about isomerism. It's one of the most interesting things in organic chemistry, and almost all are familiar with the basics of isomerism, because right from school days you study about isomerism. You know, isomerism is broadly classified into structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. So we will go deep into both structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. We will be predominantly talking only about the way in which you get questions in an objective type and how to arrive at an answer easily. So structural isomerism are basically classified into 1. Chain isomerism, 2. Position isomerism, 3. Metamerism, 4. Functional isomerism, and last tautomerism. We will take one after the other. Chain isomerism. So before I embark upon going into details, I would like you to just know how do you deduce structures from a formula. For example, if you are given a molecular formula of C6H14, first thing that you must always do is find out whether it belongs to CnH 2n plus 2 or 2n or 2n minus 2. That will give you a hint or clue about what nature the compound could be of. Here it is C6H14. It is a saturated compound because it conforms to CnH 2n plus 2. How do you draw structures? I am going to use only carbon skeleton. What we do first is, first write 6 carbons in a line. So we have completed a 6 carbon system in a straight chain. After that, write 5 carbons. Now you have to place one more carbon. You can't place one at this end or at this end, because the moment you write a carbon here, then the chain becomes the same thing. So remember always that either ends you cannot put a carbon. So I can place a carbon here. Next, I can place a carbon here. You know, if I place it here, it is going to be the same thing. So 5 carbon system is over. Now we move on to a 4 carbon system. As I said earlier, you need to place 2 more carbons. You can't keep it on either sides ends. So you can write one here and the other also the same. Or another possibility is this: you write 4 carbons, put one here, one here. Now 4 is over. Suppose you write a 3 carbon system. You have to place 3 carbons. There is no possibility of placing 3 carbons because on either ends you can't do, and it is a tetravalent system. You can only place 2. So a 3 carbon system is not possible. So a compound with this can have how many chain isomers? 5. So this is the simple way in which you can attempt such a question. Now I can give you a very easy method to remember the possible isomers for a molecular formula. For example, C2H6, C3H8, C4H10, C5H12, C6H14, C7H16, C8H18. A 2 carbon system can be written only one way, 3 carbon system can be written only one way. A 4 carbon system, how do you find out isomers? Easy way, add these two, it is 2, add these two, it is 3, add these two, it is 5, add these two, it is 8, add one more, it is 9. The next thing, don't add anything, it is double. So you can very easily find out the total number of isomers, because when this one formula can be given and you will be asked to write the total number of chain isomers. So 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 3 8, add one more, it is 9, don't add double of it. So, it's an easy way for you to remember chain isomers. Position isomers. Position isomer is where the carbon chain length is same. So, this is an easy example of chain isomer. Carbon chain length will be same. Carbon chain length will always be same. So, that is the easiest way to find out chain isomers. Similarly, functional group isomers always exist in pairs. For example, alcohols, ethers, aldehydes, ketones, acids, esters, cyanide, isocyanide, primary amine, secondary amine, tertiary amine, etc. So, these are functional group isomers. Now, regarding metamers or metamerism. Remember, metamerism, nothing is got from the name. That means there is no clue from the name. So, easiest way to remember metamerism is terminal functional groups cannot have metamerism. So, for example, this is an example of metamers. This is another isomer. So, the functional group ether has 2 carbon on this side, 2 carbon on that side, total number of carbons 4. Here you have 1 carbon here and 3 carbon there, total number is 4. So, if the carbon chain on either side of the functional group is different, you call them as metamers. Remember, the functional group, if it has a chain on either side, it implies that it cannot be terminal functional groups, because terminal functional groups cannot have chain on either side. Next is tautomerism. Tautomerism is a different type of structural isomerism, because there is a dynamic equilibrium. One functional group gets converted into another functional group. So, there is a dynamic equilibrium, but it is part of the structural isomer. For example, this compound CH3 C double bond O CH3 in any medium like an acidic medium can undergo such kind of a change. This is called the ketone form, this is called as the enol form, and therefore, you call it the keto-enol tautomerism. Here, a small atom like hydrogen migrates from one place to another place, a double bond, pi bond shifts from one place to another place, change in functional group takes place. So, this is another important example of structural isomerism called tautomerism. Always remember, total number of sigma pi bonds, lone pair electrons will be same. This you must always remember. Total number of sigma and pi bonds and lone pair electrons will always be same. Suppose you get a question, what is the total number of sigma pi bond lone pair electrons in the enolic form of butanone? All that you have to do is write the structure of butanone, count the number of sigma and pi bonds and lone pair electrons. That will be your answer, because the total number of sigma pi bond and lone pair electron does not change. So, for butanone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Total bonds 13, 1 pi bond, 12 sigma bonds, 2 lone pair electrons. That is the case of tautomerism. So, let us revise fast. You got 5 important types of structural isomerism: chain, position, functional group, metamerism, tautomerism. Now, we move on to stereoisomerism. Before that, let me just tell you what is stereochemistry. Stereochemistry tells us how a molecule appears in 3 dimensions. For example, somebody asks you what is methane, you say it is CH4. What's the structure? You say one carbon bonded to 4 hydrogens. But when you talk about stereochemistry, you are talking about a molecule like this, how the atoms on the carbon are arranged in space. This kind of a description is called as stereochemistry. So, a molecule of methane, one hydrogen on the top, the other at an angle of 109 degree 28 minutes appears as if they are pointing towards the 4 corners of a regular tetrahedron. This is the stereochemistry of methane. Now, for example, you talk about hexane. So, the molecule of hexane will look like this. This is how a molecule of hexane will be looking. It is not going to be like a straight chain like that we write on the board. This is called the stereochemistry. More interestingly, look at cyclohexane. What we used to draw or write on the board was a planar like a single sheet. But you can see that cyclohexane is not like a single sheet. The molecule, each of them is sp3, therefore, they are arranged at a particular angle. So, this is the stereochemistry of cyclohexane. So, why do we need to know stereochemistry? Because it tells us how a molecule behaves in a particular way. So, stereochemistry is one of the most important aspects of chemistry. We are going to talk about stereoisomerism. Stereoisomerism are a set of molecules which are the same molecular formula, same structural arrangement, but they show different properties, and it is due to the different spatial arrangements of atoms in the molecule. Stereoisomerism is broadly classified into conformational and configurational. Conformational isomerism are those isomers where the molecule can undergo change from one to the other without breaking of any bonds. Configurational isomerism are those kind of molecules where one stereoisomer can get converted to the other stereoisomer only by breaking of bonds. The configuration will change. So, you got conformational isomerism and configurational isomerism. Conformational isomerism further could be said to belong to open chain compounds and ring compounds. Let us talk about open chain compounds and their stereoisomers. Let us take the example of ethane. In a molecule of ethane, each carbon has 3 hydrogens and the carbon is bonded by a single bond. Each of the carbon hydrogen rotates on its axis, but there is no change in stereochemistry. But when the carbon-carbon single bond undergoes free rotation, you will find that there are infinite number of different stereo arrangement of atoms. So, it is said to be existing in infinite number of different stereo forms. Each stereo form is different. But on analysis, you can find that among the infinite number of different stereoisomers, there are 2 distinct forms. One is called the eclipsed form, the other is called the staggered form. In the eclipsed form, all the atoms are close to each other, greater repulsion, greater torsional energy, less stable. As they are apart, less repulsion, less torsional energy, more stable. So, the staggered form is more stable than the eclipsed form. The simplest isomerism in the conformation among the conformation isomer molecules. Now, let us talk about a closed system like cyclohexane. Cyclohexane has 2 important forms. One is this, it is called the chair form, and it can just flip to form the boat form. So, here flipping of the molecule takes place from one form to the other form. 2 distinct forms are the boat form and the chair form.